Okay, we're recording.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, I've seen a flying saucer.
You've seen one?
Yes, definitely.
Unidentified aerial phenomena.
To cover up our mistakes.
I've met people who swear they've seen Bigfoot.
Join us for a journey into the obscure.
You are now listening to the Wow Pod. I kind of jumped the gun. Now, welcome to the show.
I liked it. All right, so here's another weekend. Getting back on track.
It's the first official week of in quarantine doing a show.
I know. I should
We're inside the quarantine.
Rent a Connex trailer. Anyways.
We have a padded room for our quarantine. I have my kids home for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to need the padded room.
Oh, I'm sorry. They're
already bored.
So we're back on track now after, we had March has been a travesty for us.
Listen, I've had it with March.
March can eat a dump truck of dicks.
Yeah. I honestly hope it comes in like a lion, because it has. And goes out very much like a lamb.
Oh, or just
Vince and I were talking, or just go. Vince and I were talking about that. We're ready for the lamb part, please.
Yeah, it's been a terrible month so far. A lot of family tragedy. But
to add to the family tragedy, a lot of us are with this coronavirus. We're doing a little self-quarantine, a little social distancing.
Yeah, I'm still working.
And outside of that, Utah had an earthquake this morning.
Okay, yes. So we're going to start on the earthquake already. Hold on, let's hold the earthquake. Let's do some weird news. Let's do some news.
Let's break this up a little bit.
All right. Well, I got the story today, so that means
you go first.
I go first. So, of course, I'm going to take us to Florida. So there's a Florida guy. He's not a young man. He's 60. Leroy Stoltelmeyer. Yeah, let's hope I said that right. He was arrested March 11th after investigators got a tip from a toll bridge attendant who said that he pulled up and flashed a badge to get through the toll because tolls in Florida, law enforcement don't have to pay.
Okay, so he was trying to save himself what is it, a couple bucks?
$2.
$2.
Yes. So he was originally arrested on March 9th for impersonating an officer and shoplifting. Now, I don't know if the police didn't confiscate the fake badge or if he had a value pack.
I mean, the fake badge could honestly cost him probably more than the toll.
Well, I mean, maybe he's thinking accumulation. But so he was shoplifting, flashes the badge. Oh, I need this now. This is for law enforcement. These Twinkies and coffee is for law enforcement duty purposes. I don't know. But he's going to be in some serious trouble. So 9th, he got arrested, and then he got released that day, probably with a summons to appear or something.
And his badge. Here are your belongings, sir.
I can't believe if they didn't maybe he's got like a big pack, like he bought Costco police badges. But it's insane. He did it again just a couple days later. And, he's probably gonna, and I mean that is a hefty fine, at least I suppose. I don't know what is the charge when you impersonate an officer? Is that a felony? Is that a?
I believe it is. I believe it's a felony charge of impersonating an officer. You can impersonate another person and get away with a misdemeanor, but the ramifications that come with impersonating an officer are not worth a $2 toll.
No. Good old Leroy coming through for us. But yeah, so Florida coming through heavy. What you got, Betsy?
Okay. Do you remember the McDonald's story
Do I remember which McDonald's story?
where they let the mill?
The everlasting mill?
Yeah, they let it get really old and
Mhm.
nothing changed. Fast forward to a YouTuber.
Okay.
YouTuber Matt Davin hails from South Yorkshire, United Kingdom. He did a McDonald's 365 challenge where he let it age for a year.
Mm-hmm.
He bought a burger, fries, and a chocolate milkshake. He buried the meal in his friend's garden. He then dug it up last month, dusted it off, gobbled her up.
He ate it?
He ate the entire meal. He said he gagged a few times, but managed to keep it down.
Oh.
So he's actually, it's in a video. You can watch the video. During the video, he tells viewers that he's been doing weird food challenges since college. And he remembered seeing, somewhere.
What was this guy's name again?
Matt Davin, Davin. So he remembered seeing something about how McDonald's meals don't age. And set out to do this weird challenge.
Oh.
I don't want to eat a fresh McDonald's meal, let alone a year old.
How did he say it tastes?
Well, he didn't. He commented that he felt fine afterwards. He did gag a few times during the eating of it. It's 14 months old is how old his McDonald's meal was. It's a chocolate shake too.
Oh. That just sounds like not a good idea. And he actually he's not a kid. He's a graybeard.
Yeah.
39-year-old. Oh my gosh. Oh, he's going for it on that. Oh. I wonder if we can play some of this video.
So gross.
We'll see if we can't show a gag part. But yeah, I just can't imagine. He buried it
in his friend's garden.
Like in a bag or?
Well, yeah, I think he was trying to keep like insects and things off of it.
Oh. Okay, we'll fast forward.
There he goes. He's digging it up.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Either he's digging the hole to bury it or.
I think that's when he buried it.
Okay, here he goes. Here comes the eating.
He is a graybeard. There's the eating. Ew. Yeah, he said he gagged a few times.
Okay, now you throw it over your shoulder. Okay, so he handed off a chunk of the meat to his, but down the hat. I guess it doesn't go bad. Oh, this is rough. Okay.
It's got lettuce on it or something that appears.
Well, the lettuce would be turned all. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so this guy go to.
Maybe McDonald's food is the prepper's food. Now seeing this, I mean, it's got a 14-month shelf life.
It lasts forever. It doesn't taste good to start with. Well, some of it does. I can't imagine. Oh, yeah. We're gonna have to. I don't know. So we'll go into. Well, let's go into earthquake news. So this morning we had was a 5.7 earthquake.
5.7 northeast of Magna, Utah. You think their water was bad before? Oh boy.
I heard they rerouted their water. It's not bad anymore.
Well, that's good because this would have shaken the shit right out of it.
Well, I was in Walmart at the time. It was like at almost 7 in the morning.
It was just after 7, yeah.
And it rattled the Walmart pretty good. It sounded like a big boom because it's a big kind of
empty
cinder block metal roof structure. It knocked some of the like their sealant. If you go into Walmart and look at the rafters, it's got those metal trusses, and there's like a rubber sealant between them. some of those kind of fell down. And then in the eye care center up at the front, a couple of those drop ceiling tiles fell onto the floor. And I'm sure in the bathroom, much the same, and in any
Sure.
of the ancillary, rooms in there, stores, shops, whatever, the independent shops. But yeah, it was the cash register lady. She took off running. It was funny. She took off running, then it ended. She kind of slowed down for a minute, took a look around.
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking one big rattle. It was about 40 seconds.
Yeah, it was
of just a continual.
it was a loud boom inside
shake.
of there, but it came on real slow. Felt like it came on from the south, and then really hit a crescendo, and then just stopped.
Yeah.
And
I was just climbing out of bed. I had my coffee and I was sitting on the edge of the bed, and they have a bombing range out here that they detonate artillery and old.
well, they burn off old missiles. They cook
Right.
off old rockets.
So we often get like these weird shakes,
It's
boom,
Never
shake.
quite as big as that.
No. And when it first started, I thought, wow, that was a good one. And then it just kind of about 10 seconds in, I think it just registered that is not what we're experiencing, that this is an earthquake.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, well, one guy stepped out from the aisle. He was in the checkout aisle next to me. And we weren't quite in yet. When you first start in, before you get in the aisle where they sell the gum and crap. We were both kind of at just the beginning. He stepped out and looked at me. He says, "Was that a bomb?" I don't know. But that lady took off running. And me and the guy that was in front of me, not next to me, but a different guy, we look at each other and giggle a little bit. And then she was an older lady from California. So
She was like, I know what this is. This is not a drill, people.
yeah, she took off running. She was moving. And, then we checked out, giggled about it, and left. And we've had a couple of minor aftershocks this morning after it.
Well, they've had many near the epicenter. They're up to like 56 or 57 measurable aftershocks, which from what I understand, is a normal amount. That's not an extravagant amount, but we won't feel them here where the epicenter is closer to Magna. Magna is rocking with each one of those aftershocks. Because if you look on the Geological Survey's website, like some of them, there was a pretty good one, a 4.6 aftershock. It was less than a kilometer under Earth. So that's a surface wave. And they're feeling all of those. Thankfully, we're not that close.
Yeah. Well, we are within, 20 miles?
Right.
15 miles. But, so it caused some other damage. So I want to start this off
with the we're going to go apocalyptic
with a
now.
little tune. Yeah. So we got coronavirus.
It's the end of the world, people.
You can't get your hands on toilet paper or Purell.
Yeah.
The dust masks are gone. All that. It's all gone. And I'm thinking to myself the other day, like, this is weird. So now it's got me geared up. I'm thinking ahead.
Yeah.
What's the next thing to go?
Yeah.
So this morning, okay, so toilet paper's gone. Purell's gone. Dust masks, like even the industrial dust masks.
You can't even get
gone.
them at Home Depot.
That's what I'm saying. Now, so what's next? Well, this morning, as I'm pushing out of Walmart and clearing out, the earthquake hits, and then I'm driving home. What do I see? I see gas lines. So when there is a run on something, jump on the bandwagon.
It's unfortunate, but we did kind of talk about this.
You have
Those of you who are like, I refuse to be a part of that. We understand. Nobody wants to be a part of that.
You have to be.
But once it gets started, all of those who said, I will not contribute to the lack of toilet paper, you're without toilet paper now.
Yes.
Ay.
And so I went and fueled up my tank, and in both my vehicles, fueled up both tanks, and got a little bit in a jerry can and whatever else. But and I'm glad that we live in a calm place.
Yeah.
There's no fighting over food where we live. We live in a small community.
They're starting to do some mandated limiting, which I agree with 100%. So now the local grocery store, we have a couple of them here. They're not part of a chain. They're the local owned grocery store. They're limiting items to 2 per item.
Mm-hmm.
So that's on the entire store. You can't buy any more than 2 gallons of milk. And they're doing that because the population who is going to be hurt the most are those who can't afford to go and stockpile.
And the local store in town is a small store.
Right.
It won't carry that much anyway. And where, Walmart's larger. And then we have multiple stores here in town where in Grantsville, there's just that.
Right.
Just that one store. But so I don't know.
It's good to see that happening. Kind of curb
that is
some
good.
of that.
Like I bought some toiletry supplies today, but none of them were for me because thankfully I haven't run into any kind of exposure to running out of that stuff. But other family members have, so I, if I see it, I grab it for them and I can distribute it to them. Where one of the family groups that I bought it for is one of those groups that is having medical issues and elderly and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, shop for them. And then the other one is, kind of stuck in Grantsville just the same. So I grab what I can and set it aside for him. And then, of course, I grab me some candy bars and some soda, stuff I always buy, and eggs because I burn through eggs like it's going out of style. But yeah, so anyways, this earthquake
craziness.
This earthquake hit, and in Utah there is the Mormon temple. Now,
give us a little history on the angel Moroni on the top of that, because isn't he said to tell of the end of times by blowing through his trumpet?
I don't know.
I believe that's the history.
Okay, so the Mormon temple in Salt Lake City is like the main temple of
the Mormon religion.
Of all, there's lots of Mormon temples, probably one near you, but it's the main one. It's a beautiful structure. It's kind of I don't know, it kind of reminds you of like a castle from fairy tales,
Yeah.
A lot of windows, a lot of parapets, a lot of stuff. Well, the earthquake hit and it knocked some of the stone beauty, I don't know, sticky things or whatever. Knocked
fascia.
Some of them loose. The fascia, there you go. But on top of the center spire on the front of the building, there is a I think he's brass or gold, whatever, statue of an angel that has a horn to its lips. It's supposed to be the angel Moroni, who the horn fell out of its hand and off his lips and tumbled down. And it's depressing, but I can't help but laugh.
Because maybe, like you said, maybe that is the heralding, the bing bong.
Yeah, yeah. Where a statue can't blow a horn,
like,
this
is stupid.
The horn can make a bongy sound as it falls, 150 feet to the ground, bouncing off of stuff. But if you ever do come to Salt Lake, if you're not from here and you get the chance to go see the temple, go see it. It's a beautiful building. It's, well, you don't have to be a religious person to.
They're going to have to replace that because now he just looks like he's,
holding
his fist up to the sky.
I saw a picture of a guy.
To the people.
A guy put a Corona bottle in its hand like it was drinking a Corona bottle. A guy, whatever, did that. But yeah, so it's kind of craziness.
The coronavirus. I wanted to just do a little update on that as well.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about the coronavirus.
Like I said, we're doing more of a self-quarantine, not because I'm afraid of contracting the virus. I think that I would come through pretty good. As a matter of fact, I would almost welcome the antibodies that are created, so that if it does reinsurge when I'm in my 60s and 70s, I'm good to go. My body has the antibodies. My concern is, and what everybody's concern should be, is the healthcare system.
Yeah, we don't want to flood it all at once.
Because, for instance, I have a friend who works in intensive care, not in Utah. She's clear across the country.
She used to be in Utah.
What they're seeing is a shortage in ventilators.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to recognize that they only have a certain number of ventilators per hospital, and they do that based on the number of rooms and beds that ventilation can be used appropriately and monitored correctly.
Yeah, and you probably have elderly people in your family or friend group or neighborhood.
Right.
You don't want to see them in dire straits over this. So,
and that's what's happening with this virus, is the aggressive nature of it requires assistance in oxygen levels, to which they use a ventilator to help. Now, if there are none, which currently, even before the virus, they're pretty close to using all that they need for automobile accidents and other things.
Yep.
If there are none, then we see the mortality rate go up, not because of the virus, but because there's a lack of health care. And I think that's what they're seeing in Italy.
Italy's wrecked because
they have an aging population.
They have the oldest population in Europe. And I don't want to call out
socialism.
Yeah, I don't want to call it out so sternly, but when you go to that Medicare only program, this is what you get.
Right.
So they can't react. There's no extra for reaction. There's only a stability amount that's there. When you have a free market system, competition comes in and reaction is actually has value then.
Right. So I think that it would be prudent if we just recognize that there are things beyond our own comforts. And there are people that, whether we all know someone who is aging, I would think, or I know of personally know of three people who are transplant recipients, and a transplant recipient cannot afford to get even the common cold, let alone something as aggressive as COVID-19. And then we also know lots of people who work in the healthcare industry. We have to recognize that if we are not keeping this social distancing, and if we're just going about our lives like normal, it's going to spread and they will be affected.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And, and if you've got an elderly neighbor, help them out.
Yeah. And like we've told with our aging parents, stay home. We'll bring you the things you need.
Shoot us a message.
We won't be getting together for Sunday dinners for a little while because, it's likely we have the germs because we're doing all the shopping, but take necessary precautions. And
there's a greater chance that if we contract it, there's no damage done.
Correct.
Whereas if, our parents or grandparents contract it, there can be severe damage.
Right.
So let's, gather together and be good community members.
Right. Right.
But I'm nervous about the economic hit this is going to have with a lot of people being sent home.
I think the health service industry or the food service industry is
wrecked. Yep.
The health service industry, you guys are rocking.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are doing good.
But food service, because in Utah, as of last night, I believe there's no dining in. Well, if you're living your living depends on waitressing tips and maybe you're a cook.
There's no vacation in most of those industries.
Right.
So they're not getting paid. Now, I did get an email from the local power company that they're not going to shut off any power at this time. And if anyone's house has power shut off, they're going to turn it back on.
Right. Which I think those things are all going to help fill the gap. So if you know someone in the food service industry, think about them.
Yeah.
You
Help
know,
them out if you can.
if you're in a position to pick up an extra package of meat and some vegetables, drop them by.
Yep. Just drop it off. You don't even have to say anything. Just put it on their doorstep.
Right.
Knock and run.
Yeah. I mean, I think if we all come together, this will be just a little tiny speed bump that we'll remember years later.
Yep. Yeah. I don't want to be a part of the system that's hyped it up. I think there's a lot of that, but it's already here. We don't know how bad it is. So we've got to treat it as if it's
right. I wouldn't suggest everyone going nuts, but let's just be prudent,
Yeah.
Think with your brain.
Yeah, and show some compassion. But anyways, so it's the end of the world
as we know it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel fine right now.
I feel fine too.
Yeah. Okay, so last week
the chupacabra. Oh, it feels so long ago.
I know. I feel
like
bad.
Everything has happened in the span of 7 days that now it just feels like we just.
Oh, we've had you and me. Our families had 2 weeks. It's been rough, and we're trying to pull through it. We're going to get back on track.
When the earthquake hit this morning, I was like, of course, it's having an earthquake.
I'm standing in the store and I just giggled. I was like,
of course it is. Yes, that is fitting.
Yeah.
So back on track. We covered the chupacabra last week. Jared's got some.
I'm coming in hot with kind of 2 subjects, but right now I want to go through some chupacabra stories that are
like eyewitness accounts.
Well, they're kind of eyewitness accounts, but I want to just look at the ones that don't say it's a dog with mange. Okay.
So the ones that are more cryptid, leaning towards its abilities being less explainable.
Yes, and
those are the fun ones.
That's what I want to do. So right now I'm reading off UFOinsight.com.
Okay.
All right. So there's a farmer in Texas. His name's Reggie Legao. He found he caught in a trap an animal that he said looked like a mix between a dog, a rat, and a kangaroo.
Okay, hang on. What?
He trapped an animal that had been killing livestock.
A dog, a rat. Okay, those two can go.
Dog,
a kangaroo?
Dog, rat, kangaroo. Now that.
Did it have like a joey in its pouch, or what makes you think it's a
joey's a baby kangaroo?
Yeah, what makes
that's drifted me back to long, like elementary school when I learned that.
So,
forgot all about it.
Where do you get the kangaroo part?
I think it's because of
tiny arms,
the long legs.
Okay.
Anyway, so he claimed it was thrown out in the trash, but then he sent then he grabbed it, sent it off to experts and
like zoologists or
and then claims he never heard back from them. They never got back to him. Says, no, that's just a blue dog or a blue wolf or Texas whatever. So there's one. So he caught one in a trap, threw it away, thought about it, dug it out, sent it off, and didn't get any
so did he like catch it open and go, ooh, gross, and throw it in the garbage?
Probably.
And then lay down that night and go, that was kangaroo-like.
That's weird, yeah. So he said he turned it over to some experts and they never got back to him. So
I wonder if they got it and were like, ooh, gross, and threw it away.
Yeah, it went to 2 trashes. Then we've got in central Russia, there was a beast that was killing animals and sucking out their blood. It reportedly killed 32 turkeys and 30 sheep. All the blood drained out of these animals.
What is turkey in Spanish? I must know now because
El turkey.
They called it the chupacabra because it's the goat sucker, but it's killing more sheep and apparently more turkeys than goats.
It depends on what you have as livestock. In Puerto Rico, apparently they have goats.
It's the turquoise.
The turquoise. All right.
Hang on. Turquia.
Turquia.
Okay.
El
Chu-
Turquía.
El chupaturquía,
So
the
this
turkey sucker.
this Russian expert in the paranormal, Vadim Serbanarov,
Okay.
Cernabrov, good hell. He says that the way he explained it is that when it would kill these animals, it would stack them up like pyramids. It would stack them like you would stack
Okay.
a wood
So,
pile. I don't know if turkeys stack very well.
okay. So that they're all lopsided,
They're all, yeah.
top heavy.
I mean, it'd be like, you know, when you see those
They
pictures of
stack.
old forts, when they would stack the cannonballs into a pyramid,
Yeah.
it'd have to be stacked like that. Now, the sheep can just be long ways and stacked up, but turkeys are more roundish. You know, you'd think it'd have to get a little
So,
more.
okay, hang on. So if we could just imagine a creature
Mm-hmm.
grabs the turkey,
Uh-huh.
where does one blood suck a turkey? Is it the neck? Like
Oh, yeah, just like any other critter.
they've not got like a vein in their like claw or something that they suck it out of?
Doesn't say on here.
So you grab the turkey, stretch its neck,
Uh-huh.
bite it,
Uh-huh.
suck the blood,
Uh-huh.
then find the perfect spot.
Uh-huh. Well, it also
And then the bottom row I can see, but does this thing like climb up and like, oh no, you go this way? Oh,
it
no.
could be, and it also kind of separated them by size and color as well.
What?
So I don't know if the darker turkeys went on bottom and the lighter on top, or vice versa to give a shadow effect. I don't know, but that's what this guy says. Now, of course, this is in Russia in 2006, and kind of hard. I looked around.
2006?
I couldn't find any pictures of this.
Of a turkey pyramid.
A dried turkey pyramid. What do you call that? What's the medical term? Anyhow, I'll remember it later. Okay. And then you've got
Why does it only drink the blood? It doesn't eat any of it?
it's a vampire animal.
Okay.
It's not a
They need nothing but the blood?
well, yeah, it's a vampire animal.
Okay.
All right. And then I mean these sightings of this type of animals everywhere. We've got Maine. A resident said or described an evil-looking animal that had fangs alongside the road, and it was allegedly hit by a car. And photos were taken of it. And in the photos, it looked canine. And most people think it was a form of chow or Akita dog. But
Chow or Akita are really hairy. Are chupacabra like long haired?
but what if it had mange? No,
Oh, yeah,
chupacabra are people who describe them as lizards or aliens.
See, I'm getting my cryptids all mixed up.
Yes. We've got them in Colombia. 300 sheep wiped out.
They're sheep suckers. They're not goat suckers, I'm telling you.
They eventually captured it, and it was analyzed by zoologists. However, nothing ever came of this analysis.
So they capture alive?
I don't know if it was alive, but they captured it, and I'm sure they killed it, out of revenge for all their sheep.
Yes.
And again, never followed up on. This one they handed over to zoologists, and
The zoologist said, "Ooh, gross," and threw it in the garbage.
yeah, I'm telling you.
What's happening with all these chupacabras?
So I go through these, and a lot of them, when they turn them in, now this could be hyperbole from the person reporting the story saying, I never heard back from them. Could be. But,
Or it could be a conspiracy that in school they teach you, if you ever come across the chupacabra, that you are to mum's the word, ooh, gross, throw it away.
Like in veterinary school and zoology
Yeah.
school, there's a joint class.
Yeah, there's like a semester
It's
on,
Keep your trap shut 101.
right, like don't talk.
If you trip over Bigfoot turd, tell them it was bear.
Yes. You have
Could be
a duty to protect the species.
a fiduciary duty.
Maybe they're protecting the chupacabra.
That's a word I want to start using more.
Fiduciary.
In life. Fiduciary.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I want to believe in a form of chupacabra out there, in something, and that the blue dogs that were found in Texas was something different, and the wires got crossed. I want to believe in these cryptids. Does that mean I want to meet one or have one as a pet? No,
Well,
but I want to believe in the unknown animal.
I think that it's more absurd to believe that there's no mutations happening than it is to believe that there are mutations happening, because I think that we see them in humans, we see them in all other animals, these mutations of sorts, and perhaps the chupacabra is a mutation of that.
Could be.
I don't think it's a
I mean,
rat and a kangaroo hanging out on a weekend.
I like the story of the Reese's monkeys getting tested on and going crazy. And
Yeah.
like, what if they tested some roids out on it? The Reese's monkeys all buff and meaty and grew spines and
Yeah.
wants likes the taste of pennies.
I don't understand the whole blood sucking portion of this, other than perhaps.
Well, there's bats that obviously they're, the vampire bat, its main diet is blood.
So maybe it's just a fascination of people who are into cryptids with this blood sucking thing.
Could
Like,
be.
why isn't there a cryptid that like sucks toes and stuff? Because that to me is far scarier.
There is. I mean, you got to go onto certain websites.
Those are real.
I wouldn't suggest.
Those are real. I'm talking a cryptid. I don't know.
I would rather eat dug up McDonald's.
That's true. Than suck a toe.
Mm-hmm.
So suck your toe.
Yes. Anyways, so I just wanted to. I mean, I felt bad. It bugged me all week that I had debunked a cryptid just like that, but that's all I found of it.
Well, and I don't want to count them out yet, because I think that it's the youngest cryptid
from the mid-90s.
Yeah. So, and they've got its name wrong. Obviously, it should be sheep sucker, and
turkey sucker,
and turkey sucker. So
El Turkey-O sucker.
Perhaps if we would identify it correctly with the right name, we would hear more about it.
That is true. Well,
so when people are like, have you seen a chupacabra? They go, what is that? It's a goat sucker. They say, no, I only have sheep, and I've seen sheep suckers lots of times.
Maybe Puerto Rico had a lot of goats back then, but somewhere in the early 2000s, they liked wool better. They opted to go for sheep.
Perhaps. I'm just saying, don't count it out yet.
They swapped out their livestock.
It's young. It's a young, aspiring to be well-known cryptid.
Yes. Well, I've got another story.
Okay.
Do you know who Jackie Gleason is?
Yes, of course.
He played on The Honeymooners.
Yeah.
Smokey and the Bandit. Jackie Gleason in 73 was friends with Richard Nixon. They were golfing buddies. Gleason was one of his big supporters when Nixon ran for president.
Right.
So one night after golfing, good old Jackie gets a knock at the door. Now, this is according to his wife. So his wife wrote this after they got divorced in her book. So there's a picture of Jackie Gleason on the screen.
Okay.
Got a knock at the door, and he answered the door, and it was Nixon. And Nixon says, I got to show you something. So Nixon takes him to, they were in Florida, and Nixon takes him to an Air Force base, kind of a remote part of an Air Force base there in Florida. And they and he walks him like into this lab area where there's different labs all on the sides, and in a couple of them he sees like these debris, and Nixon explains those are part of downed UFOs.
Okay. Why?
Because him and Nixon were homies. And now Jackie Gleason.
He was just like, dude, I got to show you something.
Well, Jackie Gleason and Nixon were both paranormal nuts.
Oh,
According
I
to
didn't know.
them,
I didn't
Jackie
know Gleason
Gleason,
was.
Jackie Gleason.
I know Nixon was.
Called himself a paranormal nut. He loved aliens. He loved ghosts. All that stuff. Books. Matter of fact, he had a library full of books that was given to, I want to say like the Miami library upon his death. He like willed him to had a library full of paranormal books. So anyways, so he walks him in there, and then he takes him into this lab room that had like, those freezers that have the glass tops.
Mm-hmm. Like you get the ice cream out of.
Yeah, ice cream.
The good humor freezers.
Sodas, yeah. He went into those, and he looked in there, and there were these 2-foot tall humanoids. Now, his wife explained it as they had large ears, but he may have said large eyes. I don't know. And all this is coming from his ex-wife at the time. He got home from this, and he was moping around and kind of freaking out at acting. And for a couple of days, he wouldn't tell her anything. And then he finally told her, okay, this is where we went, and this is what I saw. But he swore to secrecy. And then they got a divorce, and, well,
all bets are off.
She wasn't going to keep that secret. But yeah, these little life forms were in there. So Nixon, according to Mrs. X Gleason, took him to a facility that housed the debris, the leftover spacecraft, and the little aliens.
This wasn't like a planned trip or anything, just spur of the moment, showed up.
He just showed up. It says after a golfing trip, Nixon showed up alone at his door. So he didn't even have his Secret Service
detail
with him. Yeah. He said, get dressed. Gleason got dressed. He took him to Homestead Air Force Base, and they had armed guards to a top secret, highly secured remote installation.
So many questions.
Yeah. Now, Gleason never talked about this, just his wife.
So many questions. So many questions. One, how do you leave without your detail? Like they're all up your butt.
I don't know. Back then, it might have been easier.
It may have been easier.
But you think it wouldn't have been because he's president, right?
Following an assassination.
Yeah. He's the elected president right after an assassination.
So they're going to be high alert. And then two, I don't necessarily think that the president, even though he's the president, can just waltz into any super classified area.
I don't know. Maybe Nixon just got the in on that day. That's why Nixon's like, I got to tell my homeboy who likes
Gotta
this
go
stuff
now.
too. I've got an inside source on my stuff.
And then three, like they're in freezers with the glass. You can see in them. That's not secure.
But it's not. Okay, the building's secure. Now I don't know the particulars on why the biology was kept the way it was. This is just reported. But maybe those are like little morgues, for lack of a better term.
For little green people.
Yeah. Little
with
green
big
people
ears
morgues.
or eyes. I said eyes, Gladys. Not ears.
Yeah, he now it does say that he came clean in 1986 with researcher Larry Warren. But this is according to Larry Warren, and a lot of people don't trust Larry Warren so much.
Why?
Why don't they trust Larry Warren?
Yeah.
Apparently he's overblown a few issues.
Embellished
Maybe.
a tiny bit.
Yes. But his ex-wife, I mean, she talked about it in Esquire. She talked about it in the National Enquirer.
I hope there are good humor freezers with little green aliens.
And they
in them.
got divorced like that year. So the very next year, 1974, she's in Esquire talking about it. And then in 83, she's talking about it in the Enquirer. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe Nixon got an in and took his homeboy Gleason to be his. I mean, if they were golfing partners, and let's say you found out that there was an alien, right? An alien somewhere. Who would you take? Me
Right.
or Cody?
Right. Well, I'd definitely take you.
You take me because that's our deal, right?
Because that's our deal, yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you found out there was a rusty old car broken down somewhere.
Cody would already be there. He wouldn't even have told me.
Yeah. Now, who would Cody take? He would take Dad. Right? Because
Yeah.
that's their deal.
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
So I'm thinking
Him and
that
Dad would be drooling on it before I ever even heard
maybe
about
Nixon got an in with a colonel that's, you know, hey, you want to see something?
Well, and I can imagine that's going to be time sensitive. Like, hey, you want to see an alien? You don't be like, yeah, let's schedule that for next Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd be like, yeah, let me get my homie. We're leaving right now. So that doesn't seem far-fetched to me. The leaving the detail for Nixon specifically, for anyone, but for Nixon specifically, seems a little more difficult to do. But perhaps they had more latitude back then to just say, you know, I get to decide. You stay.
It could have been, or it could have been, you know, Nixon decides to go down to Florida and golf, and maybe a local colonel that runs that place, runs security there, or somebody says to himself, I can chum up with the old man, you know, and the old man's friends with Gleason, and I'm listening to him talk about UFOs or whatever while we're golfing, and he's like,
have I got something to show you guys?
He probably all the ride home chewing on his lip going, I just got to do it. I mean, this is my chance to, you know, I get to meet Jackie Gleason, one of the best comedic actors of the day. I'm meeting the old man, you know, the commander in chief, which is what the president is. When you're in the military, he's your boss.
Yeah.
He's the top of the food chain.
All of that checks out for me.
Well, I want to believe the story for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, I do too. I want to believe that somewhere in the old good humor ice cream cabinets that left all the drugstores that they were repurposed and they're full of aliens.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want that very much to be true.
Yeah, got like a little litter that's made to fit in there with this little green guy on it with big ears.
Not that I want to kill any aliens. I just think that if
they died of natural causes upon crash.
If you're dead of natural causes, I want you in a good humor refrigerator unit, freezer.
You can see where they tried to scratch the sticker off. They picked at it, so it's got like
the old Neapolitan sticker.
The edge of it's still kind of there. The paper under the glossy sticker part is still there.
Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want to see. That would be my dream.
Now, this story comes from mysteriousuniverse.org. So we'll have all these stories.
Oh, is that go? Okay, so go back up. No, down. I saw the little alien guy.
Oh, you want it? Well, this isn't that. This is off of something else because, you know, good humor was never kept in a
nothing cool
in a bubbly
spacey,
jar.
yeah.
You know, but that would be cool. But yeah, so all this will be.
We need to make some of those for the podcast room.
Oh, when we make those clay aliens, they all need to be kept in something like that.
Yeah, like a little.
That'd be cool.
Containment units.
But yeah, so that was just and I'd heard the story before, but you know,
I really want this to be true.
With us coming off of this hard couple of weeks we've had, I wanted to find some. First, I wanted to make up for my total heinousness towards chupacabra. I feel terrible.
I don't think you were bad to them. I think that you just in the research. Listen, chupacabra fans,
and I'm not a good researcher.
We want this to be the thing of legends, but it's so new. It's so new. Like historically, there's not enough information out there for us to really delve into it. Like it's brand new.
Yeah, it's still kind of green.
It's like when we create our cryptid, you're going to have to let it grow up.
Yeah, you're gonna have to let it mature.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't count it out just yet.
But I do like the Jackie Gleason story.
That's a cool story.
That is a fun one, has a president involved. I've got another one in the chute that has a president involved too.
It's a conspiracy.
Well, maybe not a conspiracy, though. We do have a couple conspiracy shows coming up.
We do. They're brewing.
Did you watch that video I sent you?
Yes.
Oh,
that one's really that one's a yucky story.
Well, this one, I think we need to do an overarching. I don't want to get into any details because details gross me out, but an overarching. I mean, it's kind of points a finger at our leaders. Our leaders are lizards.
I saw a couple of videos with the coronavirus where they're doing announcements on it, and I'm pretty convinced they're all lizard people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about Trump may have come in contact with it?
Probably. I would say he's at risk, but not at risk because he's rich.
Rich and if there's one person that's going to get one of those aforementioned ventilators.
Yeah. So I think he's fine.
Yeah, I think he is too.
I think he's fine. I think if we all just relax.
I would like to see that. I would like to see us. These come around every so often, these
every election.
Well, it's not every election. I looked into that. I saw that meme, and it seems to be that these known virus families have a mutation that comes around. Like, I don't think this COVID came from bats. Yes, they may eat bats in China. Yes, I may have almost watched a whole video of one. And I'll eat some weird stuff, but
yeah, it's likely just a mutation within the genome of it.
It probably is. And now it could be that the government's design this and set it loose on us to
biological warfare,
so that they like the conspiracies are, so that the Fed doesn't have to admit that its policies are messing it up, so that there's another conspiracy that if the economy fails, that's all Trump has, so they can finally get him out. There's another conspiracy that
I like
there's always the Club of Rome, they just want to cull the herd. There's all these different conspiracies.
I like the conspiracy that China did it intentionally because they're mad at Trump. That's my favorite.
There's all those. And it could be. In October of last year, they had Event 201, and I think that'll be our next show is Event 201. Just talk about that, because that you can actually watch videos on that. So we'll come back with
next week.
That'll be our showing. That'll be our jam.
In the meantime.
And Betsy's going to have to
nice.
do that one. I'm giving that one to her.
Yeah, I'll do Event 201. That's a good subject. Pretty broad.
And that includes all the notorious bad guys, And I think we should lead into that with a little bit of Club of Rome talk. Have you heard of the Club of Rome?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
They do go hand in hand for sure.
Club of Rome shows up anytime there's a call for, got to save the earth. But anyways, thanks for joining us. Remember, take care of your neighbors.
And be nice.
Yep.
To each other.
Yeah. Don't fight in stores over toilet paper. I mean, the toilet's generally, inches away from a shower if you have to.
Yeah.
There's no need for violence.
Have a great week.
Yes.